Aloha. I want to go over the 8 limbs of yoga briefly, and I encourage you to go study on this. But I'm going to highlight as the 8 limbs of yoga was explained to me, which was a very much a tree system with branches. And also, this is very much like a ladder, which you can see my sad art of a ladder right next to it. But these are very much like rungs on the ladder that you step up. You step on this one, you step on this one to get to this one. So it's an interactive process. So I'm going to try to go over it real briefly, but the beginning part of the first 2 legs is Yama and Niyama, which I see as a root. You'll see it also as branches, but this is the ethical foundations, and I'm going to highlight this in my next color drawing to show you my interpretation, and we're going to focus on that. But just briefly highlight the other 6 limbs. It's broken down into 2 other aspects. The next level is asana. Asana is the physical yoga that you know today, but the main goal is for you to be able to sit for long periods of time. And as you work on asana, you start working on pranayama. Pranayama, prana is breath. This is the control of breath. Then you get to pratyahara, which is the control of your senses. And this is when you start going inward. There's certain types of yoga that you can do. If you look up pratyahara, this is working with sense control, withdrawing your senses or using your senses. The next limb of yoga, the next 3, is dhyana, which is prolonged states of meditation, not just little 5-10 minutes of meditation. This is you're able to sit for extended periods of time, hour, 2 hours. So your meditation will, your time period of meditating will increase. And another thing that will improve is your concentration, which is your dhyana. And as you work on all of these, you will eventually achieve a state of samadhi. Now, we all have experienced samadhi, whether we have realized it or not. There's 5 different states of samadhi, and this is when we're connected to all, we're without our mind. We get lost in a movie or music, and we're just in the moment. So these are moments of samadhi. There's 2 other levels of samadhi that you can go study on. And so the reason for me going over the 8 limbs of yoga is really to highlight this colored picture. I see these 8 limbs of yoga as a flower. So the first 3 leaves is kind of what you can see here, which is the beginning stages of practicing some yoga. And the last 3 stages, I see them as potential. I see them as buds. And samadhi is the flower. So the roots of this flower is what I want to focus on. Yama and Niyama. This is the ethical foundation of yoga. So these 5 different parts, I really want to go over this with you and highlight just the similarities, that this is very much like our 10 commandments, if you look at it, except Yama is social rules and Niyama is your personal rules. And you may find that these resonate with you. If you can adopt these, you're going to find that the reason for Yama and Niyama is that violence is actually the main source of our disharmony. And you might find that it affects our mind in unhealthy ways. So for the Yama, number 1 is non-violence. Number 2 is truthfulness. Number 3 is control of sexual energy. Number 4 is non-stealing, not taking credit for what others have done, not stealing, not taking possession, which leads to number 5, okay, which is not possessiveness. And on this, one thing that resonated with me was this is where we are the custodian of resources. So this is where we are the caretakers. So this mindset is something for you to ponder, and hopefully you'll realize that you can adopt this as well. So personal rules, niyama, is number 1 is contentment. Number 2 is purity. Number 3 is the study of spirituality. This is what I want to point out on this Butorfly program. I keep encouraging you to study. So the study of spirituality, what you'll find is it's the study of self. I hope that you have picked up on this. Anytime that we study of spirituality, the topic is you, the object is the self. So keep studying of the self, and this is the path you're on right now. Number 4 is self-discipline. This is something we all can work on, but this is the process of awareness. We can foster this and cultivate that. Number 5 is surrender to God. Now, God is the word that I'm forced to use. However, this could be the universe, this can be life, all of these things. This could be truth. All these things reflect really the same thing. Yeah. So surrender to that truth, that God, this is your knowing inside of you without your mind. So I'm hoping that the ethical foundations that yoga is built on, this Yama and Niyama, is something very similar to a lot of your core values. And this may help you with looking into some of the specific things that may take us off our path. And looking at these things is one way that we can really develop a firm foundation in our knowing, especially in those rough times. Good luck on your journey. Aloha.